my God, this is so much fun. This is the Porsche 911 Dakar, and it might just be the finest SUV in all humanity. Let's check it out. So the 911 Dakar is a bit of a tribute to the Porsche 953 that won outright the 1984 Paris-Dakar, and appropriately, just over there, we have actually been driving some of the stages today. But we need to really tell you about some of the nitty-gritty that makes a 911 Dakar, well, probably the best SUV I've ever driven. So since it's a 911, let's start at the business end, just under there. So every Dakar started life as a Carrera 4 GTS before, well, Porsche engineers just tore it apart and modified it, but it still shares the same twin turbocharged 3-litre flat six. Now in the 911 Dakar it produces 353 kilowatts and 570 Newton meters of torque. And it's quick too. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes around 3.4 seconds, which is only a tenth of a second slower than the C4 GTS. And that's because this whole car only weighs 10 kilograms more than a Carrera 4 GTS. Now that might sound like some witchcraft, but that just hints at the depth of engineering that's gone into making, well, a 911 Dakar a 911 Dakar. Now you might be able to spot that this car, well, it rides a lot higher than a regular 911, and that's because it does. It has much longer struts that raise the body around 50 millimeters as standard, but that can also be jacked up thanks to a front and rear lift system by another 30 millimeters to around 80 millimeters. Providing a ground clearance of around 196 millimeters. And that, Porsche claims, as well, gives it the off-road ability of something like a Cayenne, because it has similar breakover and departure angles. So as well as the jacked up suspension, the 911 Dakar comes on some very special bespoke Pirelli Scorpion all-terrain tyres. Now not only do they have a 9mm thick tread, they also have a reinforced sidewall, which mean they're pretty much puncture-proof. So there's also been plenty of detailed chassis changes on the 911 Dakar that make it, well, quite special beside a regular C4 GTS. First off, there's standard rear-wheel steering, but next, to counteract the extra body roll you get from jacking it up, it has active anti-roll bars. Finally, it has the 911 GT3 RS engine mounts as well, which are around twice as stiff as the regular ones. Oh, and there's been some engine mode changes as well. There's a new rally mode and there's a new off-road mode. Now the rally mode is a lot of fun because it shuffles the torque to the rear wheels and it also ensures a fair amount of slip. Finally, the off-road mode has been designed to, well, cope with that behind you, sand dunes. So some of the exterior changes on the 911 Dakar, well, I don't think you're going to miss them because as well as being jacked up, you have a all new carbon fibre rear wing, you have these wheel arch extenders, there's bash plates front and on the side and at the front, and also it's worth checking out this new bonnet as well because it's carbon fibre and it's been borrowed from the 911 GT3. One more thing actually worth pointing out is while we're at the front here, to get this really good approach angle, Porsche has actually moved, well, they've deleted the central radiator and stolen two twin radiators from the 911 Turbo S. So yeah, that's where the cooling happens. Oh, one more thing, there's a new cold air intake system as well that's been designed to, well, cope with sand and dirt and dust and mud and all the things you'll find when you go off-road. Oh, I almost forgot. I bet you don't know what that is. It's a power outlet. Can you believe it? It's a 12-volt power outlet, and that's because Porsche has designed this car for just the most amazing accessories. In what must be one of the most ludicrous options of any car out there at the moment is the roof tent option for the 911 Dakar. I guess it keeps you away from the wildlife at night time, but I think I'd prefer 5-star hotel. I just can't wipe the cheesy grin off my face because, well, we're doing this in a 911. This is the sort of stuff you see Defenders do or Land Cruisers. And here we are in a 911. I mean, obviously to cope with these sand dunes, Porsche have developed a special off-road mode that sort of pre-arms the all-wheel drive for sandy conditions like this. But in rally mode, that's the one you want if you want to go sideways, because that really has a rear bias. This really is a pinch me moment. I've done some crazy things in my life, but driving across a sand dune in a 911, well, that's just got a top one. I mean, what have we learned from hooning a 911 Dakar around these sand dunes? Well, I'll tell you what, this car is pretty decent because it has that rear wheel steering, which really shinks an already very short wheelbase, so it feels perfectly agile. And that 570 Newton meter torque peak is also quite useful. I really do hope that these cars don't end up in someone's collection in some sort of airtight museum style garage, because this is a car that is just made for having fun like this. So Porsche truly has created the antidote to big ugly SUVs with the 911 Dakar, because this truly is a sports car with quite a bit of off-road ability. But of course there's quite a lot of bad news. The first is Porsche's only going to make 2,500. The second is we don't know the Australian allocation, but it's likely to be tiny. The next hugely terrible piece of news is when it arrives in Australia in the second half of 2023, this will cost $491,400 plus on-roads, and that makes it, well, the fourth most expensive 911. But forget all that, because this is a car with big personality and it's just lots and lots of fun. And the reason I'm walking back here is because, well, when am I ever going to get the opportunity to drive this car here? Never.